The part spec on the Polygon Siskiu T9 might have you thinking it's going to have a high-end price tag, but somehow Polygon has taken the price of this thing sub $3,000. Stay tuned to learn all about it in this dissected episode on loamwolf.com. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the Siskiu is Polygon's sort of mid-level, do-it-all mountain bike, designed for plenty long days in the saddle, but still providing enough capability to get you down some pretty rough and gnarly descents. Polygon takes a size-specific approach with their frames, so for the size small and medium, you get a 27.5-inch wheel on both ends. The medium is also offered in a 29er for riders who prefer the bigger wheel size, and then sizes large and extra large see 29ers on both ends. In terms of frame travel, the 27.5-inch bike gets a 140mm rear end with a 150mm travel fork, whereas the 29er gets a 135mm rear travel with a 140mm fork. At the heart of Polygon's faux bar suspension design is the unibody one-piece link here. It's made from one piece instead of two pieces that are welded together, providing a slightly stiffer and lighter weight connection overall. Unlike a lot of budget bikes you'll see, Polygon's opted to give the Siskiu T9 a pretty nice paint job. There's a real luscious sparkle to the metallic green here that you see, which really adds to the overall feeling of quality on it. For a budget bike, the Siskiu T9 is packed with a bunch of premium features. You've got full internal cable routing in the front triangle at least, nice and generous chainstay protection out the back, room for a huge water bottle in the front triangle to stay hydrated. And then there's your typical standards, your boost axle spacing, a threaded bottom bracket, and there's even ICG 05 tabs on there if you want to add a chain guide for getting extra rowdy. Given that it's the all-mountain bike in Polygon's range, the Siskiu has fairly well-rounded geometry that's equally balanced for the way up and down the hill. Polygon wanted to retain plenty of agility in the frame, so gave it a really nice and short rear end, but offset that with a fairly low bottom bracket height to keep the rider still nice and stable and integrated into the bike. The 27.5-inch and the 29-inch frames have unique geometry compared to each other, just to work best with each of the respective wheel size and frame travel options there. The size range goes from small through to extra large, and the reach increments are just 20mm jumps between each size, letting each rider really find the frame fit that suits them best. Stack heights are fairly low across the range, especially in the smaller sizes, starting at 594mm on the size small and going up to 634mm on the extra large. The 27.5-inch wheeled bike has a 65-degree head tube angle, and then the 29er bike has a 65.5-degree just to retain a little bit more agility in the steering. And then the rear end length is 430mm on the 29er and 425mm on the 27.5. One potentially contentious geometry number is going to be the bottom bracket height, sitting at 335mm off the ground. This is particularly low, so riders in chunky terrain may struggle with pedal clearance issues, but for other riders they'll really find a nicely integrated position on the bike. Polygon offers the Siskiu in a range of builds starting from the T6 at $1,699 and all the way up to the T9 here at $2,999. All of these share the same proven aluminium trail frame, but it's the part spec that varies on them. So in theory, you could buy one of the cheaper models and upgrade it over the time to end up at something like this T9 here, but it's probably going to end up better value if you just go for the full spec to begin with. What do you get for your $2,999 on the T9? Well, it's certainly an impressive part spec that Polygon has managed to put together for this price tag, so let's get into it. Starting off with suspension, Polygon's fitted a Fox 36 Performance Elite fork, so you get the full four-way compression and rebound adjustability on that. Super high performing and only just different in looks really from their factory level. And at the back you've got a performance level Fox Float X with a lockout lever and a rebound adjustment on there. And both of these are solid performance for sure. The drivetrain is Shimano's dependable 12-speed XT with a Dior cassette to save a little bit of money, but also increase the wear life because all the cogs on it are steel. Definitely good to see here. Braking duties are handled by TRP's DHR Evo 4-pot brakes. These are some of our favourites at the site, and they offer loads of stopping power, even with 180mm rotors that TRP have spec'd. The wheels use Polygon's Entity component range XL3 alloy rims, a super burly 35mm inner diameter rim, which is paired with a set of Shimano hubs, and then they're wrapped in a set of Maxxis Assegai EXO tyres in 2.6-inch width on the front and rear. Rounding up the specs, you've got an alloy bar and stem from Polygon's in-house brand Entity, and then a Trans-X dropper post with a WTB Vault saddle up there. As with all of our dissected features, this is not intended to be a long-term review, but I've managed to log a solid few rides on this Polygon Siskiu T9 so far. As it is a trail bike, certainly the uphill performance is very important, and that's one place where, although the overall bike weight is not super lightweight, this is over 36 pounds for this size large build, Polygon's geometry and the suspension platform both lead themselves to offering plenty of support and a very kind of comfortable position to log plenty of miles up the hill. And it's absolutely a pleasant machine to climb even with that extra weight. I think one thing that you could do, certainly with this bike, to improve the overall feeling of efficiency is to swap the tyres out. Maybe the Assegai up front is perfect for a very wide range of conditions, but I think having the 2.6-inch Assegai in the rear may be a little bit overkill for a lot of riders. So yeah, certainly worth paying attention, as with any bike, to make sure you've got the right tyre spec on there for you. Onto the descents, and that's where the Siskiu T9 really comes alive for me. It's a super poppy and playful bike. That short rear end really leads itself to manualing all over the trail, finding side hits. The overall platform is fairly stiff. I have had slight issues with tyre clearance in the rear. I'm a very heavy rider. There's not a huge amount of space in that rear triangle with that 2.6-inch Maxxis Assegai tyre. But aside from that, the overall package certainly lets you push pretty damn hard for the kind of 135mm travel trail bike that it is. D-rupping. I think a lot of that is helped by having a really powerful set of brakes on there. The DHR Evos by TRP are super solid stoppers, and you can really just grab them hard to slow down in a hurry whenever you need. And then backed up by a really adjustable suspension platform, and yeah, the capabilities of this bike are really increased by having the high quality spec of the T9 here. When the trail starts getting a little bit faster, that's when the T9, it's a trail bike. It's designed for fairly undulating terrain. It's not designed to be in enduro territory by any means, but it's when you can first feel the kind of the limits of the bike, but not in a bad way. It's just more tended towards a little bit more of a playful overall approach rather than just a full-on max out like charging approach. And yeah, it's a super fun bike, and one that I've thoroughly enjoyed testing so far for this dissected feature. A big thanks to Bikes Online for helping us put this feature together. It's certainly been a pleasure riding the Polygon Siskiu T9, and for $2,999, this is a seriously killer build that they've put together, and a very fun machine overall. Thank you so much for watching this feature on the Polygon Siskiu T9. If you've enjoyed watching it, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think about this $2,999 Trail Ripper, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more awesome content and awesome bikes like this. Thanks for watching, catch you out on the trails.